What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Athletes Club. My name is Nat, and I'm excited to be joined here today with
Kylie Grassi.
Kylie from Bridgewater State. Um, to kind of name some of your accolades, currently sits fifth all-time on the Bears scoring list with 1,202. Holds the highest season scoring average at 20.6. Two-time first-team All-MASCAC. Two-time Player of the Year. 2002-23 MASCAC champion. And second and fourth for the most points in a season all-time with 535 and 461. To kind of catch up with you, did you get to watch any of the March Madness?
I did. It might be surprising. I mean, we're just talking, so I bet you could tell this, but I really don't watch sports too much, like in my free time, which is kind of crazy. Like even all my friends make fun of me for it. But I did watch March Madness because my family we just did like a small bracket.
Yep.
So women's, I chose Iowa just because everyone knows about Caitlin Clark. So I was like, oh, she'll win it all.
Okay.
But then the men's bracket, I chose Duke winning it all because my dog's name is Duke, and I was hoping that for my dog that they would win.
Okay.
They got knocked out. Yeah, I did watch it though.
I didn't make a
So
bracket, and I got to like watch little bits and pieces of both sides, but the women's this year completely outshined last year, which I didn't think would happen as quick as it did.
I know.
It exploded.
hmm
Um, what is the last song you've listened to?
Let's see. I was listening to music on the way here. I was listening to "Let Go My Hand" by J. Cole.
Okay.
That's like a
Okay.
new song that I found that I've just been obsessed with. So I don't know.
Okay. To kind of dive right into it, mental health, it's definitely a thing that's more talked about at this point. Can you point to a time that you have struggled with mental health?
Um, I don't know if there's like a specific time that I can say that I've struggled with my mental health, but I would definitely say like overall in my life, I'm just an overthinker, and
Hmm.
it's just the way that I've always been. And I'm not really the person that's gonna like look to like go on medication for it. You know, it's just kind of like I find ways to deal with my overthinking, and it's like if I find myself to be overthinking a certain situation or like a certain time in my life, I try to like just look at things from the bigger picture and just try to find the root of what's caused me to overthink that.
Okay.
So
What do you think, like, with the overthinking, what component would be like hardest? Like, is it like performance anxiety? Like, if you have a bad game, stress, injuries, balancing school life and being an athlete and being social?
honestly, like a mix of all those things, I can find myself overthinking
Hmm.
like within the season, even if it's the off season. When it comes to like performance anxiety, like I guess it's normal to have like the pregame jitters, but sometimes like obviously if it's a bigger game, like we're playing the Framingham or the Westfield, I can find myself getting a little bit more worked up.
Yeah.
So like in those moments, I kind of just have to like take a step back and like remind myself like it's really just a game.
Yeah.
And like at this point, I've made it this far playing at the collegiate level. Like I'm good enough to be in these moments. So
Yeah.
that's kind of just like the way that I help myself with that. But like when it like if it comes to having a bad game, I can't stress myself out too much and overthink that because it's something that's already happened. The only thing I can do is to play better the next game and to work harder to not play as bad. But
Right.
yeah.
What did you find helpful to like kind of ground you during the times like where you might be outside of the game or things like that?
Um, I found like personally like just watching game film has really helped me a lot because we had a mental health coach come and help us this past year. His name was Aaron. He was doing his internship with Springfield,
Hmm.
and he showed us that one time. He talked to us for like 15 minutes after practice, and he just explained to us that like a lot of the time when we're having performance anxiety or just like doubts about our skills and our confidence, it can help to just like look back at film and like look at moments where you've seen yourself play good and you know that you've had a good move or like even just overall you've like played a good game that game. Like just watching the film and seeing yourself and knowing that you have those skills and just being able to like visualize it can like really help with that. So I just found that like going back and like watching moments where like I know I trust my skills can help with that.
Right.
So
In these moments, do you find yourself as someone who would reach out for help, or do you kind of stay to yourself and figure it out?
I would say that I'm kind of the person that just stays to myself. I mean, if it's like my close family and friends, I do like just bring it up. Like I'm a little scared about this game, and then they'll shoot me a text being like, "You're good, you got it. Like just don't overthink. It's just any other game. Play your game." But I would say I mostly just stay to
Yeah,
myself in the bigger
no,
scheme of things.
I agree. I kind of tend to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, as being a woman in sports, talk to me about your experience playing sports as a female growing up.
So this question, it makes me think a lot about um, when it was like the younger starting point of me playing basketball. Um, so obviously there was like organized leagues. Like we did like my town had I have such a big town that we had a league. It was called like Plymouth Girls Basketball Association. So that started when I was in like first grade, and that was just girls playing against girls in that league. But
Hmm.
I just remember going to those games, and it wasn't like I was in first grade, so I knew oh my god, I'm the best. Like I'm the best. I'm this much better than all these
Right.
people. But like I remember like going to those games, and like I was shooting 3 pointers when I was probably in like the first or second grade, and it was just I feel like my skill level at that time, like I don't want to sound like I'm like talking myself up like this, but like at the time, like I had coaches like complaining to like my coach being like that shot shouldn't have counted. There's one game I remember I made like a game winning three when I was like 8.
Hmm.
And like I remember the other coach like screaming at my other coach saying it wasn't fair, all that. So like just kind of that, like that whole part of it, it was like I just felt like I was ahead of my time, not to like sound like that, but compared to like the skill level that I was playing against. And then another thing that I think of is when I was in third grade, they didn't offer a travel league like for my grade at the time. So um my parents, they knew someone who he was running a fourth grade boys travel team, and he offered to my family. He was like, well, if Kylie wants to play travel but there's nothing offered for her, she can come to the boys tryout and try out with me there.
Getting recruited for travel is kind of crazy.
So yeah, my parents talked to him, and then I went to the fourth grade boys tryout, and I made the team over some boys who got cut, and I played with them the whole season. So
That's crazy.
yeah, that was an experience.
That I don't know what to kind of say to hitting a game winner already 8 years old, because that's in the first grade,
Yeah,
already causing ruckus, and then in the fourth grade making some boys get cut and kind of go home
yeah.
and search for a new team. What does it mean to you to now kind of be a female in sports?
Now I feel like it's definitely getting a lot more of the appreciation that I think that it should.
Hmm.
I mean, like looking back and like thinking about even just playing in high school, like the amount of fans, or like not even call them fans, but just like people at my school who would go and support the boys' games, and then you would literally watch them leave the gym when it was time for our games to come on. Like
Yep.
coming from my town, I played at Plymouth North, but our big thing was like the North versus South game, because it was like the rivalry. Like, oh, we're
Yeah.
a big town, so it was like us facing them. But I just remember it was always a thing where so many people would pack the stands for the boys' game. It was literally like the NBA Finals to go and watch the
Yeah.
boys' game. And then, I mean, year to year, it would depend on if we would play first or if the boys would play first. But no matter which way it was, you would see the fans leave when it was time for our game to start. Or if it was us playing before them, no fans were there for our game, or our select friends that would come and watch. But there was no fans basically there for our game, and then they would all dwindle in the fourth quarter just to get there to get a good spot for the boys' game.
And this is
So
Plymouth North?
yeah.
Oh boy.
So I
Oh
mean, now
boy.
it's definitely changed, because like even here at Bridgewater now, like we literally had a fan bus come to Framingham and watch us. Like people are starting to appreciate
Yeah.
like the competition level is good, and it's like we're just as good as a boys team is. Like we're just as fun to watch. So I think
Yeah.
now it's definitely getting the appreciation.
Kind of talking about that. One thing I mentioned is in the last episode was, as you kind of drive by parks, like even for me growing up, my experience, you would never kind of see girls down playing the park. Like it was kind of like a rare occurrence.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that is, and did you ever play in the park?
I think honestly, it's a thing of like girls don't want to play in the park because they don't think that they have like the athleticism or like the skill to hang in with the boys. But when I was younger, I don't think I really did as much. But growing up, like when I learned, obviously, like I have the skills to be playing in AAU games, or like I have the skill to be playing for my high school team. Like I started to realize like I can hang in there with the boys.
Hmm.
So this question just makes me think about like my brother. He's a couple years older than me, and he just has like a big friend group, and they're all just like athletic kids. Like you could say they are like intramural level sports kids, like
Yeah.
so they would all it was during the time like right after COVID, so like probably 2021. I remember they used to rent out courts at the university, like the Starland. You know those
Where's
gym.
that?
It's in Hanover.
Okay.
So it's like the big sports complex with like 8 courts in it, but
Okay.
they like do this offer where you pay like $80 and get like court time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all of him and his friends, they made a big group chat and they're like, okay, this day of the week, can anyone come and like come to like the open court time? So then my brother literally put me in the group chat with them. I started going and I was the only girl there. It was like my brother, all of his friends, like their brothers, their cousins, and I would literally just go and like play runs with them. There's literally, I think there's like a mixtape that some kid made, and like I'm like crossing up boys that were at like the pickup game. So yeah, that's kind of my experience with that.
No, that's pretty dope experience. What did you kind of learn from doing that?
So like I said, it was like 2021, so that was like that was the summer before going into my freshman year of college here. And from that I just kind of learned like I said, like I can hang in there with the boys. Like it's not really a matter of you I don't have like the athleticism or like the skill, but it's like they were all just like mediocre boys wanting to go and play and have fun, and like I
Mhm.
knew I've been playing basketball for this long, like there's no difference if I'm a girl and they're a boy.
Okay.
And like when I was playing with them, I never felt like, oh, they're afraid to play defense on me because they don't want to hurt me, or I
Well,
can't.
it sounds like they had to play defense.
Yeah, but I was never like, oh, I can't take the ball and they're gonna like stuff my shot. Like I learned like to not think like that, and it kind of just
Hmm.
like helped me like find myself, I guess.
That's pretty cool. You found that.
Hmm.
You kind of mentioned how women's sports is now kind of getting the recognition. What are your thoughts on how women's sports stands today, and like how do you kind of see it building up going forward?
I think it's like a really amazing thing what's happening with women's sports today. Like we already mentioned, like the whole thing with Caitlin Clark drawing
Right.
so much attention, and it's just like an amazing thing to see, really, because even since the time when I was a kid, like no one would have even thought to like go to a WNBA game, but now it's
Right.
like we have people tuning in to watch the WNBA draft and to like see where all
Hmm.
these girls end up going, and
Yeah.
it's just a really awesome thing to see.
Yeah. So if you had a young girl watching, what would your advice be for her to kind of grow up and starting out in sports now?
Really just to put yourself out there. Like I said, like I never really was the one to like go out and play in the park, but I was also the one that was a third grader girl playing on a team of fourth grader boys.
Right.
So it's really you just have to put yourself out there and then like not worry about what other people think. Like no one's gonna look at you and be like, oh, why is that girl playing with all boys? Because at that point it's just you know your skill level and you know that you can hang with them. So
Hmm. If we had to kind of rewind the clock to go back to your journey before you got here to Bridgewater, kind of take me through those years, what it felt like, because you mentioned we talked about you not having a consistent AAU team for consecutive years. So what was
yeah.
that like?
So that was definitely a huge part of shaping who I am as a person, I would say,
Okay.
because so I started off my first AU team was it was called the Kingston Sports Center. It was just this little place out of Kingston. I don't even think it's open anymore. But I played with them for a couple years. Then I played on I think like the Wolf Pack. Then I was on the Mass Attack. I think I was on a total of like 8 different AU teams.
Hmm.
So I just think that was like it made me learn a lot because I played with so many different girls and so many different coaches that I've learned to like literally play for every coaching style that you can think of. I've had the coach that screams at you every play down the like every up and down that you go down the court. I've
Right.
had the coach that brings you to the side and explains what you're doing wrong to you. And it's like learning to play for all those different styles and like with so many different girls, I think it really just shaped how I am as a player and like made me so adaptable to learning different things.
What is your favorite playing style or coaching style?
Um, I would say just fast paced. And I don't think I even realized that that's my favorite style until I got into college because my high school coach, um, I played with him all 4 years, and he actually was one of like my first AU coaches when I was younger. But he was such the style where it was like every play down the court, he was yelling, telling you, be in this spot, do this. And it wasn't, I shouldn't say robotic, but it was so much of like, do what you're told kind of.
Pre-planned?
Yeah. And not that it was like bad or anything, but it was just I don't think I realized that when you get into college it can't even really be like that, or like the style that we play at Bridgewater it
Yeah.
can't. And so I think that it just really opened my eyes up because My style is I'm just the first one down the court. If it's offense or if it's defense, I just put the Jets on and I'm going.
Yeah.
So I think that also helps because I don't have to like stop and think like, oh, I made that mistake or like I should have done this. It's
Hmm.
just kind of like get down the court and even if it's offense or defense, like just do the next thing, make the next play. So,
Yeah, no, I definitely love the style that y'all play here at
mhm,
Bridgewater with the fast pace because even when say like the fast break doesn't work out, you have sets or whatever when you pull it back to then run through and kind of go through. But the
exactly,
first instinct is to just go
exactly.
and go and go.
Hmm.
Um, did you have a mentor or a favorite player who you watched influence your game?
Yeah, so like I said, like when I was jumping to all these different AU teams, it was kind of a lot of on the fact that my sister, she's also 4 years older than me. So when we were going, when I was switching to a different AU team, it was mostly because I was going to wherever they wanted my sister to go to. So
Yep.
me and my sister are 4 years apart. I never got to play with her in high school because we were like just that age gap where I was in eighth grade when she was a senior. So it was kind of like
Mm,
we just missed it.
yeah.
But like I said, I literally just remember when I was in like second grade, I'd be going to her travel games. I would always be watching her. There was years where my dad coached her travel teams, and even just like I was a younger sibling who I would go to her AAU tournaments and be running around the convention center
The little
causing
kid running
havoc.
around with juice box and
Yeah. So I would definitely say my older sister because we were kind of just a pair. Wherever she would go,
are you
I would
guys the
go.
same positions?
No.
No.
So my sister, she is 5'11". She was the one blessed with the height
Yep.
out of the two of us, but
Okay.
I we definitely play. I wouldn't say very different because some people would call me like a stretch guard,
Yep.
stretch post, like small forward. But she was more of just she could post anyone up, but she also had the outside shot. She was very versatile,
Hmm.
but she was also Parker on the block, and she could make a move and finish
And
on
go.
basically anyone. So
Okay. As you kind of mentioned, you had COVID, which was your senior year of high school, which I mean, kind of doesn't help college recruiting. So, how did you handle COVID in college recruiting?
So this was definitely a very challenging thing that I had to learn to finesse and get over because so usually high schools they do game film,
Hmm.
which it's very helpful
Right.
for certain situations
Yeah,
such as
definitely.
COVID.
It's about 90% of recruiting.
Yeah, so my I remember my freshman year we had film, my sophomore year we had film, and then one of the girls' parents on my team, her parents used to do the film for us, and then when it hit my junior year, she wasn't a part of the team anymore, so it was kind of like up in the air. Is anyone's parents going to take the
Oh boy.
role on of doing the film,
Yeah.
or is it going to be something set up through the school? But no one ended up taking responsibility for wanting to be the one to do the film, so my whole junior year we didn't have any film.
Hmm.
So when it came time to COVID hitting and it was time to send the film along, it was okay. I only have film from my freshman and sophomore year, which is I'm obviously less developed.
And I am not a freshman and sophomore
I'm not
anymore.
a freshman and sophomore anymore. So I just remember, um, like when COVID was hitting, I was like, okay, I got to start getting it going on this. I'm not gonna have junior a junior year AAU season, which people say is a pretty big season
Yeah, it
in the
is.
world of AAU.
Yep.
But I just remember being like, okay, I gotta figure this one out. So I had to reach out to other schools that we played, just like towns that were like in our league or like even just towns that we would play in like non-conference that year. So I had to reach out to them or try to find their huddles and just like make any clip that I could.
Yeah.
So I think I like honestly still have it on my phone, but the mixtape that I ended up making and like sending to like the select coaches, it was like probably a mix of 5 different games for my junior year and then just like a couple sophomore year clips that I could find
Yeah.
because I didn't really have much to work with
Was
my
one of those
content.
coaches Bridgewater?
No, it
No.
wasn't.
Oh. So how'd you end up here?
So I was really stuck in between. I mean, I also did struggle because a lot of it was I didn't know what I wanted to do as a major, so I was kind of like all over the place with like what was happening and who to
Yep.
send the film to. But I think I sent it to like a couple Division 2 schools and then a bunch of different like Division 3 schools. Even if like I look in my email now, I can see like the coaches that I'd like talked to in the past. But I sent it out to like I said, like all those different schools, and then the ones that got back to me and that I was like heavily talking to was Western Connecticut and then UMass Dartmouth. So I ended up touring both those schools, and then they just like didn't really have the majors that I wanted, and then Westcom was really far away, and I knew I didn't want to be far away. And then, like I said, UMass Dartmouth didn't have my major,
Mm-hmm.
so it ended up being a matter of Caroline Tripp. She had
Shout
already
out to
committed
Trip.
here.
Shout out Trip.
Shout out Caroline. But she had already committed here, and obviously I'd played with her all throughout high school.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's because like my coach had been to our games in high school and like had remembered me,
Yeah.
or if Caroline had like mentioned stuff about me. But then one day randomly, it was like at the end of February, Caroline texted me. I remember I was sitting at work. I worked at like the hospital at the time, just like in the kitchen. And I
Okay.
was sitting at work, just like on my phone. I remember getting a text from Caroline. She was like, "Hey, do you know where you're playing in college yet? Like my coach is just asking about you." And I was like, "I'm kind of torn with where I want to go. So like, could you just like give me your coach's number? I would be interested just in like looking at Bridgewater."
Yeah.
And so I ended up I started text back and forth with Coach Casey, and then we set up a tour. And then right after the tour here, I ended up quitting, like
Because
early
it
March.
had the major too.
Yeah.
2 for 1.
Yep.
2 for 1. So I think something I wanted to talk about with you is kind of your self confidence. Watching you play the end of or going from conference of last year to game I came to this year. It was a noticeable difference in the confidence you had in yourself, where you just seemed a lot more comfortable playing through mistakes or through tough times. So what has the journey been like for you getting more confident in yourself? I'm gonna assume each year from freshman to sophomore to junior.
Yeah. I think a lot of it has come with, like I mentioned before, just like figuring out what style of basketball best fits me.
Hmm.
And like I said, like just the fast pace of how the game is going has like helped me so much, just because there's no time to stop and think about a mistake.
Yep.
Or even if like the game isn't going that fast, like I think I'm just getting so much better with like reminding myself that like you made that mistake, you're not gonna get pulled out of the game for it, or you took that shot, you might have missed, but it wasn't a bad shot.
Yeah.
And so I think just like working so hard in the off season and like having trust in my skills, that like the shots that I'm taking, I know that they're still good shots, and if they're not falling, I can't just get too down on myself.
Hmm.
So from my freshman year to now, like it's just like a matter of my shot selection's gotten better. I have trust in like my ball handling skills a lot more, and just I'm used to playing in college now, where it's I know now I'm gonna be a senior. Like I'm older than most of these girls. I'm bigger. I'm stronger, and just
Yep.
a mix of all
Did
those
you have
things.
like a turning point, or like a moment that like it just all made sense and changed? Did you
Um,
have like a moment or time period you could point to?
I would definitely say at some point during my sophomore year, I can't name exactly like a certain point, but I just have like the feeling that like my sophomore year is like when I started to gain that confidence and like really keep it up. I mean, that's the year I ended up getting the player of the year as a
Hmm.
sophomore. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like a huge thing. But
Right.
I don't know. I would say definitely freshman year I struggled a lot with the confidence, and that was kind of just a matter of we had such a big team, and I was still trying to find my role. But I think by my sophomore year, I figured out my role completely, and carrying it on from my sophomore year to now, like I know my role, I
Yep.
know how to act on my role, and I know that other people know my role. So
Right.
I would say that.
So as you kind of mentioned, with your senior year coming up, now that you're kind of stepping into a position of leadership next year, what type of leader do you want to be for your team?
So I think that everyone that knows me knows that I'm a very quiet person. So
It's
I
fair.
even I've had my one-on-one meetings with my coach, and we've talked about this kind of thing too, because obviously going into senior year, it's time to start thinking about, okay, I'm going to be the senior on the team. The
Yeah.
girls are going to look up to me. But I would say I'm definitely not going to be the kind of leader where I'm screaming at the girls 24/7. I'm like, on top of them. I'm going to more try to be the person where I let my skills show, and I lead by example almost.
Right.
I feel like a lot of the time it's like I step onto the court and I literally give it all that I can. Like
Hmm.
there's some games I'm literally playing 40 minutes in the game, and like
Right.
I try not to take any plays off, or I come to practice, I'm never lacking off or giving me like 50%. So I think just being that kind of leader where it's like they can look at me and see that if you work this hard, then the success will pay off.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I would say that.
So as you mentioned, what helped you kind of lead here at Bridgewater was shout out Trip again, Trip, and then which you wanted to study. What is it that you wanted to study, and why was it important?
So coming into Bridgewater, I said that like the other schools I was looking at, they didn't like have my major.
Hmm.
But if I'm being completely honest, like coming out of my senior year of high school, I really did not know an
Yep.
exact thing that I wanted to study. So that's why when I started talking to Coach Casey here and starting to learn more about the school and the majors that they had to offer, the health science major really stuck out to me because the health science major is basically you take all these prerequisites that just relate to science and it kind of sets you up to do anything that you want in the medical field if you choose to do physical therapy, if you choose to do athletic training. And so I kind of just based the decision that they had the health sciences and that I knew I wanted to do something in the medical field, but not exactly what.
Okay.
So, like, my freshman year I came in, I was thinking of doing PT. I wanted to do physical therapy. My mind was set on it. And then I started to think, I was like, do I really want to do 4 years after already doing 4 years? So
Yeah.
I think just the broadness of the major.
Just keeping your options open.
Yeah.
Okay. If you had to name like a peak and valley, like the highest of highs and lowest of lows, which would each of those points be?
Um, I guess I'll start with my lowest low, and then
Okay.
we'll work our way
Build
up
up.
from that.
Okay.
But I would definitely say my lowest low is probably just the beginning of my freshman year. Um, Obviously, as a freshman, you're not gonna walk in and play 40 minutes a game. I
Right.
can't say that I was expecting that for myself, but playing time is like a big thing, and like everyone's gonna like think like, what am I doing wrong that I'm not getting the minutes that I want, or like
Hmm.
does my coach hate me? Why didn't I get into this game? So I think a lot of it was making that adjustment and like any girl that is going from playing in high school to now playing at the collegiate level can probably go to say for themselves, you're the best one on your high school team and then you're coming to a mix of a bunch of different girls who are the best from their high school team.
Right.
So I think just figuring out like how to earn my way up and like make it almost like make it known and like try to figure out how to play at the college level.
Yep.
It was just a really, I would say it was a low point because I was very hard on myself and it was just constant questioning like what am I doing wrong?
Hmm.
Did I make the right decision to come to this school? Like would I get more playing time playing somewhere else? Like am I doing something wrong at practice? Is my coach not noticing me? So I just think that like there was minutes my freshman year like games where I wouldn't get in at all or like I would get in for like only a couple minutes and like I would go into the games and not feel like I did anything wrong, so it was kind of hard to like
Yeah. Find an answer.
yeah, like so it was just searching for an answer a lot of the time almost. So I would
Okay.
say that's my lowest low.
Okay.
And then highest high, I don't know, I feel like I had a pretty good season this past season. Like you named all my accolades that I've earned.
Hmm.
So I think honestly just like right now coming to like the off season, having that all behind me, I'm very proud of everything that I've accomplished, and it's not something that came easy.
Yep.
So I would say right now, just being able to like sit on the fact that all the hard work that I've like made throughout my life and throughout the off seasons, that it's like really paid off, and I'm getting a lot of recognition for it.
Okay. So which one holds more weight to you?
Um, hmm. I would say holds more weight in a good way is the lowest low,
Okay.
because
Yep.
when I think back on it now, it's like I said, everyone at some point has probably struggled with like their
Yeah.
playing time and trying to find their role. So like I think it's good to look back on that and to think like there was times my freshman year when I was like questioning like why did I even come play basketball? Like I'm gonna get
Yep.
8 minutes a game. And
Yeah.
now it's like I'm accomplishing like so many things and I'm like so grateful that I'm getting all this recognition. So I think just like being able to look at the difference of the lowest low and the highest high, it's like I appreciate it a lot, and I'm proud of myself for being able
Okay.
to do that.
So talking about your accomplishments, was this like freshman year, say like if you got the minutes that you're talking about you were looking for,
Hmm.
was this the expectation for yourself or did you even dream of achieving half of them?
I like honestly did not really dream of achieving any of this these goals that I have in the past, like past year or past 2 years. I mean, in high school I was a good player, and
Hmm.
like throughout my life I've always been a good player. But like even in high school, I mean, I guess I can blame it on COVID, but like I didn't get my 1,000 points in high school, and then I get it my junior year of college. So
Yeah,
it's just,
that's a big leap.
yeah, it's just crazy to like look back on something like that, and it's I really didn't think that that would be something that I could have accomplished. And
Hmm.
even like beginning half of freshman year, it was like I wasn't getting any playing time. I wouldn't have thought that I could even average that many points to get my 1,000 in my junior
Yeah.
year. So not really, no.
So, what do you think is the hardest decision that you've had to make?
Um, Not relating to basketball, I would probably say the hardest decision is just choosing like what I want to do um, with my major and do with my life after basketball, because like I said, I want to do something in the medical field, but it's never been like clear cut on what I want to do.
Hmm.
But I just recently like have discovered that I want to do ultrasounds and go into like that field. So that's been a hard decision because there's so many things that you have to weigh out. It's a matter of how much money you're gonna make, if you're gonna love what you do. Like I've never been the person to be like, I want to sit and have like a desk job, and like even if I'm making the most money, like I would never be happy like sitting in a cubicle all day and like doing that kind of
I wouldn't be either. I
thing.
wouldn't be either.
Yeah, so I think that's been a pretty hard decision because there's a lot that goes into that, and like you really have to weigh out the pros and cons,
No,
that kind
most
of thing.
definitely. Uh, Kind of leading up to this point to kind of jump into life after sports, as you're mentioning. Did you ever think about what like life would be like after playing sports?
I like really haven't thought about it too much yet, and it's kind of scary to think that I like only have one more year left of
Yeah,
it, which I don't want to think
it's
about.
fastly approaching too.
Yeah, it's everyone says this, it's goes by so fast, you won't
Yep,
believe it, but it's like really
it's true.
really going by fast.
Yeah,
So no, I like haven't really thought much about it, but I think like settling down on like knowing that I want to pursue the career that I want to pursue in ultrasounds, like being an ultrasound technician, like I think it's giving me like peace knowing that I'll be happy with what I'm doing. But
yeah,
when it comes to actually saying bye to the sport of basketball, I don't know how that's gonna go one day. I don't know.
yeah. That it's definitely tough.
Yeah.
What do you think your lifestyle will look like
I'm
for you?
definitely gonna be a very active lifestyle. Like
Hmm.
even in the off season, I'm always going to the gym, going on walks, doing that sort of thing. But I honestly like don't know. That's all I got.
To be
Like
continued on that.
yeah,
Um, do you still want to be involved in basketball in some capacity even after you're done playing?
um, I would say yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm like a quiet person, and like I've never been like the most vocal leader, so I don't know if coaching would be something
Yep.
that I would want to pursue. But like I have coached like younger teams here and there, like if someone needs me to like step up or like in a camp like to run something. But I don't know. I want basketball to be a part of my life, even
Right.
if it's just like my sister right now. She's like 25. She played at UMass Boston,
Hmm.
but she's like doing like a women's league with all of her friends. So like
Yeah.
something like that. Like I definitely want to continue to have it in my life. It's
Yeah.
not just something I'm just gonna give up.
There's definitely things beyond coaching too. Like you could do training or like as you go up higher, there's more positions in like statistics or like being a practice player or things like that.
Yeah.
Um, so if you had to point to a moment up to this point that you were proudest of yourself, or actually this is kind of a two-part question.
Mhm.
What is the proudest moment of yourself you've had in your career, or do you still feel there's something to achieve that you'll be proud of or proudest of?
Um, Honestly, like there's two parts to my answer of this too. I
Okay.
would say definitely the proudest moments have been winning the MASCAC my sophomore year and then getting my 1,000 points.
Hmm.
But then along with that, if there's still something to achieve, I want to win the MASCAC again for my senior year and on a good note.
Yep.
And then I'm also very close to earning the scoring record.
Okay.
So that's just something that I know, knock on wood. That's just something that I know is possible for me to achieve
Yep.
if I stay healthy, if I keep working hard. So
You mentioned healthy. I had to do
I
it
know.
again.
But yeah, I would say my 1,000 points because I just remember the feeling of when the shot went in to get me my 1,000 points, and all my family and friends being in the gym and just like feeling the energy of like I don't love all the attention on me, but like just like that attention in the moment was something that like I can't even explain. Like it was just everything had come together.
Yeah.
And just having, like I said, my family like, and my friends, like my best friend happened to be home from Colorado for like Christmas break, and like my other friend, she goes to like Southern Connecticut. They were both there and they could see me do it. Like
That's dope.
my other two friends from back home, they were at the game, and like they all came and like we celebrated at my house after, and it was just like knowing that all my hard work and then like all the people around me who have made that possible were there for me. So definitely that's something that I'm very proud of. And then, like I said, the MassCAC championship,
Yep.
just being able to cut down that net, it was something that
Especially the way it happened.
I know.
The way it happened. To kind of talk about, who is Kylie Grassi outside of Bridgewater basketball?
I would say that I'm just a very like laid back person. I like to keep to myself. I like to go on my nature walks. I've really picked up on that in the past couple months. It was actually during like um kind of towards just like MassCAC play. I remember it being like I just need to do something to like get my mind off of like everything going on, like classes, basketball. So I would literally set aside like half an hour out of the day, and I found a walking path like near my apartment. And I was like, I'm just gonna like go on a walk every day. So I would say I'm just kind of the person that like I love like improving myself almost, and just like finding ways to like make time for myself.
Yep.
I love to go on walks with my dog. I just like to spend time with my family and friends. Like it's just things that I can do where like if life is getting hectic, I can fall back on those things.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good answer. To kind of switch gears to the fun stuff, Coach Casey gives you, it's Thursday night, Coach Casey gives you the weekend, no practice, no games. Somehow that works out. Are you going to go out? Are you team staying in or team going out?
Okay, so
and it's only one answer.
It's only one answer
for the whole weekend.
Okay.
There's no halves.
I really want to say I'm half. So I can't say like it depends on like.
It's Thursday night. You get the weekend. You're either going out for the whole weekend or you're staying in for the whole weekend.
Honestly, I'm gonna go team going out.
Okay.
I don't know. I want to say I'm in between, but I'll say going out just because we're young. We gotta have fun while we can. You know, if all my friends are going out, I'm not gonna be the one that's like, guys, like I want to put my pajamas on. Like if everyone's doing it, I'm just. If they're
going with the
begging
crowd?
me, if they're begging me, Kylie, let's go do something fun. I'll join them.
Okay.
I'll go do something fun.
If you had one song that plays every time you enter the gym, and this is every time, so I mean, if you walk in by yourself, if it's game time, if it's an away game, what's the one song that's gonna play?
I always say my hype song is "First Day Out." So
First Day Out.
I'm gonna go with "First Day Out."
But is it T Grizzly?
Yeah, by T Grizzly.
If you had to make a lunch table with 3 other people that you meet every day with for an hour for a year, who are those 3 people going to be?
It's just like anyone, like friends.
It could be anyone, but I mean, to kind of think about it logistically, everyone's going to kind of get along because it's every day for an hour.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. I don't know. Who are you picking for this?
That's a flip. Flipping. You got to answer it first. You can't flip it on me. I'll give you mine, but
okay. So it has to be people I know, obviously.
It can be whoever. It's 3 people. You don't have to know them, but if you want to take the gamble.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Nicki Minaj.
Okay.
I'm having lunch with me, Nicki Minaj, 2 other people with us.
Yep. So there's 2 other people.
Let's see. I don't know. This is a tough one. I kind of just want to say like.
It could be like someone that you get to learn from, or just like someone to get knowledge. Every day you can get knowledge from.
I shouldn't pick Nicki Minaj. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just giving you options on who you can pick.
Okay. I don't know. Should it be like a mentor? Like.
It can be. It could be your best friend. It could be your sister, your brother.
I'll say my best friend Ethan. So Me, Nicki Minaj, my best friend Ethan. And then, can I do like my dog?
I mean, sure. Let's do the dog.
Okay, that's my 3 people then.
Okay. So since you asked, I'm gonna go Steph Curry, Tom Brady, and then I know it's fictional, but he's a person too at the end of the day. Bruce Wayne.
Okay,
I specifically said Bruce Wayne
that sounds a
because
little bit more realistic than my answer. So
every day for a year we're gonna sit down. We're just gonna figure it all out. Should mac and cheese be eaten with a spoon or a fork? And you can't say spork.
Oh, I'm going fork.
Okay, good. We
I'm
don't
going
have a problem
fork.
with that. Corner brownie or middle brownie?
I'm a big corner girl.
Corner. All
Give me
right.
that
Wow.
crust.
All right.
Give me that crust.
And then, okay, so for your college career teammates, you have to draft a starting 5. So what do you want to say your position is? The 2 or the 3?
I'll give myself a 3.
The 3. Okay, so I need a 1, a 2, a 4, and a 5.
Okay, just anyone I played with.
Anyone you played with at Bridgewater.
Okay, 1, I'm going Caroline.
Okay.
2, Sid,
Okay.
my shooting guard.
Yep.
4, I gotta go Soph.
Mm-hmm.
Should be taking all those charges.
School record.
And then 5, I'm gonna go Destiny Fitzgerald.
Okay. Shout out
Throwing
to
it
them.
back.
And now for the twist that you got to replace one of them to play the Celtics. So you're playing against the Celtics. You have to
Okay.
replace one of them with either Batman or Spider-Man.
I'm gonna go Spider-Man.
Okay.
Because
And
my nephews love Spider-Man,
Okay.
so shout out to them.
So who's Spider-Man kicking to the bench?
Oh. Damn, I feel like I'm calling someone out.
I mean, it's Spider-Man. They kind of got to just roll with it.
I can't kick myself out.
If you want to bench yourself, but that means you got to be the coach.
Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna kick Soph out because Spider-Man, if he has
Soph.
if he has his webs, he can play good. He can block the shots, play good as defense as Soph can.
Okay.
I don't know how tall Spider-Man is also, so maybe he can just.
Well, I mean, he's got the Spider-Man ability, so
Yeah.
I don't think it matters too much. But that's the lineup that you're taking to beat the Celtics.
That is.
Watch out, Celtics. KG, I appreciate you doing this today. I appreciate your time. Do you have anything to take us out?
I do.
Okay.
I have this quote that I think is very applicable to myself.
Okay.
That quote is, "Never compare yourself to anyone except the previous you."
All right. And with that, we're out of here.
Peace out.